This is going to be a video covering warping a vinyl rip, or recording of a track. It's going to be pretty much the same procedure as warping a digital track. We just have to do a few more warp points, because obviously the digital tracks nowadays are pretty much perfect for the most part. So with probably 95% of them, you can put a point in the beginning, put a point at the end, and then you're good to go. But with the vinyl record, obviously you've got the vinyl itself, the pressing could be slightly warped, and then you have the record player, might not be playing at the exact pitch consistently. And on top of that, the older tracks back in that era were also not perfect as far as the timing goes, because a lot of them were using MIDI, real-time MIDI, so beats and stuff can be swaying back and forth slightly. So you've got a little bit more work for you, but it's not that difficult. And I'm going to show you with a track of mine. Actually, it's my release is from about 10 years ago. So let's go ahead and start here. I've got the track in. I'm just going to turn on warp, and we'll go in and zoom in on the first beat. So you can use the shift trick, holding shift, and drag to the left. We have what looks like almost a transient here, but I think that is just maybe a little bit of vinyl noise or something in the beginning. So I'm going to put it more closer to this. And make sure you have your start point also in the very beginning. Normally it's going to be there. Sometimes the start point can get off for whatever reason. I think it maybe if you move the loop around, or who knows. Every now and then that gets off, so make sure that's right in the beginning of the beat. If you don't, what's going to happen is when you, say, lock this down, put it on 49. If we zoom in, of course, because of this extra space that we got an extra space here as well. So make sure that's down. Just double check that, because sometimes it goes off. It happens to me all the time. Every now and then you're wondering, why is this thing off? Even though I've got it worked properly, and next thing you know, you've got this little error over here. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Let me go ahead and put this back at 120. Put this at 120 as well. Now the first thing I generally do when I warp a track is I highlight the BPM area, and then I either go up or down with the arrow keys to try to find the right BPM. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look for the main hits here, the kick and the snare, to line up with our bars and beats. So starting with the 120 default tempo, I know my track's going to be a bit louder than that. Sorry, a bit faster than that. Just going to keep it going higher, bring it back down. Okay, 131 looks pretty good. And you can see for the most part that's on slightly off, but we'll adjust that later. So if we listen to it right now in the beginning, it's probably going to be pretty close. It's already getting off a little bit there even. Definitely off at the end. So even though it starts out okay in a digital track, we could just go to the very end of the track, and if I put on 131 on a digital track, it probably would be exactly 131, and we'd just go to the end, and we'd probably have to adjust it slightly at the end, and you'd end up with something like 130.99 or maybe 131.01 or something like that, just slightly off. With digital, it's not like that. Sorry, with analog, it's not quite like that at all, because we can already hear it going off pretty soon. I'm only 17 bars in, it's already off. Let's go in and 16 bars. So we'll go into 17, and usually I just kind of go through the track. We're going to go probably like every 8 or 16 bars, maybe every 32 bars where necessary, and we're just going to slowly get the BPM on and work our way to the end. So go to 17, hold shift, and let's go to 49. I'm just double clicking the warp marker there in case you don't know that. You see that's very off at this point. Let's listen to it so far. Let me bring the tempo up as well to what was it, 131 we had almost. And make sure that it's on Complex Pro. That way we kind of hear, the transients are going to be better preserved, so you can, tell whether or not it's actually on beat or not. If it's, one of the lesser quality modes, sometimes the transients get smeared and it's harder to tell if it's actually locked in. It sounded pretty good. Already getting off there. Let's go in a little bit more. It looks really off. Let's see what happened. At this point it seems to be getting off, and that can just be, again, the pressing at that point. It could be slightly off, you never know. But again, we're slowly working our way up, because again, we couldn't go to the end here. Even now, if I go to the end, it's really off, so. And the idea is just to slowly work your way over. At the same time, though, I probably would use as little as warp markers as possible. Don't go crazy with it, because the more warp markers you do, probably the worse the sound quality is going to be, because you're, maybe applying more processing than needs to be. So I generally try to put as little as possible. And it's just kind of a waste of time as well to do it too much. You just want enough so that you know, okay, that beat needs to be here. Because if it's really off that beat, you don't know if it's going to be on 209. Maybe you need to go over to 210. It's not going to be as obvious, but you want the beats to be pretty close enough to the major measure markers, so you know which way to go. Because obviously we're not going to be mixing in the middle, so it doesn't really matter if this was actually on. But in order to get these ones on, we need to have the rest of them on as well. Okay, almost there, a few more to go. Now the ending obviously is important because that's the mix out along with the mix in, so you want to pay a little more attention to those points. We can also put a loop at the very end, and you can get the loop bang on. So let's go to loop. I'll make it 4 bars to be simple, and get that right near the end. Put the start point back to 1. Here you can give it a little more attention. Just to make sure that mix out's nice and smooth. And go ahead and save it. So that's basically it. Anyways, hope you enjoy this, and stay tuned for more videos. Alright, bye.